but there's all those questions you need to find out. Right? Sure, it's tough, right? Like we could answer what ifs all day, but
hey, just sometimes parents feel helpless.
Your hair goes up the back of your neck, and you're worried about it, then you've got to deal with it. Right?
That's right. But I just sometimes parents feel helpless, and I want to send a clear message of, what's the limit of where I can say, hey, can you take this and give it some thought for us? Can you look it over? Would a hi, hello be sufficient enough for me to go to the police department and hand over my phone as a parent, not as a group or anything, but as a parent?
Yeah, depending on how it was.
30 years old right away. That's what I'm thinking. Right? As a parent, you realize that my 14, 16-year-old daughter is being talked to online, even if it's about Minecraft. Or I love your Lively video. Yeah. I'm reaching out.
I'm going to contact the police.
Yeah, because when my first time downloading Lively, it's everybody from the age of 8 to 14.
Yeah.
And it's like nonstop. All you have to do is flick through the pages, and every single little girl, little boy is on there doing a music video. And it's this craving for fame. This craving for attention. And it's a mass thing straight across the world. It's not just in Canada that's happening. It's straight across the world. And as a dad, I'm not there yet at those ages, but at the same time, I'm scared for that time.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason Facebook has a billion users, right? It's not just to connect with old high school friends.
That's right.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be on there, and out there in social media, and you really gotta be aware of what your children are up to and talk to them. That's the big thing.
So I have a question for you. I get a lot of people sending messages to our group, concerned parents saying that, oh, this person here has been talking to my cousin's daughter or whatever the case is, and they're sending us chat logs and information and stuff. And up until this point, I've just told them, call the police, deal with the police, obviously.
Yeah.
But would you recommend them calling the police directly, or would you recommend them, if it's more of an online thing, submitting to CyberTech? Because I'm kind of just figuring out which one I should refer to, situational sort of.
Yeah, I was going to mention CyberTech when Norm was talking there about. Cybertip.ca is a fantastic website that we're in partnership with that has a lot of information there for parents. A lot about what you talked about. If something does happen and your child's pictures end up on the internet, there's information there on how they're able to help try and remove it and locate the pictures, and everything from that to simply how to talk to your kids in this day and age about the internet. So I recommend, if you have any concerns, just to wander through cybertip.ca. They do have a good website there. In answer to your question, we generate calls both ways. Cybertip.ca, if you're not aware, you can go on there and fill out a template that you basically walk yourself through it with, this is who I am, this is what I'm concerned with, and this is my evidence, and this is who I think it is. It's pretty self-explanatory. And you fire it out to cybertip.ca, and then they figure out, okay, Vancouver, we'll send it to Vancouver Police, and I get notified in my workflow right from cybertip.ca. So they're fantastic that way, and I follow them on files straight through cybertip.ca, so I can recommend them for sure in that regard. And then the other way is just as easy as well, right? And that's to call the local police.
Yeah, right.
It'll, at the end of the day, it still goes to us, right?
Yeah, right.
Cybertip.ca does not investigate. They just disseminate the information. So they would capture it all and send it to me.
Right, so yeah, I would definitely recommend, I know we got some live streams here, so if anybody does have any issues with anybody reaching out to their parents and it's not maybe like an immediate danger type thing, I would recommend going through CyberTip first. I mean, when you guys are sending us your information on whatever your concerns are, there's absolutely nothing that Creep Hunters Canada can do with that information. We don't go after anybody. We don't initiate first contact or first meet. So getting handed all of this stuff with all respect, there's nothing at all that we can do with it except for advise you to either submit it to cyber tip, or if somebody's in immediate danger, then contact your local police. So,
does anybody here know what a turnkey kid is? No? I'm a turnkey kid. A turnkey kid was my generation. My generation was the first generation to have a key when I went home because both my parents were working.
Right.
And we're past that. Nobody even knows what turnkey is because it's just the average norm. That's what that is. Kids are coming home nowadays and they don't have their parents at home. Both parents need to work, one parent needs to work, divorce, whatever it is. But they have a freedom that most generations have never had before. And I'm going to stress this 100% because when you look at the age bracket of our politicians, they weren't turnkey kids. Their idea of family is something far beyond what we are living as family today. And it needs to be respected. It needs to be understood. You know, me being a turnkey kid, I had a lot of freedoms. I didn't have this as a kid. But imagining, like, my kids aren't turnkey kids. I pick them up from school. I come home with them. I work within a school time period. I built my life to be there 100% during that period of time for my kids. Later on in my, what I call my afterlife, when my kids are of age where I can actually go out there and live, well, that's when I'll be that full-time worker. That's when I'll do that. But for now, I don't want my children to be turnkey kids. Because what's going on, like I just said 2 minutes ago, is they have freedoms. They come home and nobody's home. Now, you can get lockers for your internet. You can get all of that. But the reality is the information is readily available for them on the internet, on YouTube, on the sites that you're allowing them to go to get around these lockers. Now, and not every kid is the same. Once again, not every family situation is the same. But regardless, the intelligence is out there. And if we're not talking to the politicians who were never given the coping mechanisms to deal with the things that our children are dealing with today, these instruments weren't around for them as a child. You know, and the single parent generation came from my generation. And now my kids' generation and the generation before them. And it needs to be understood on a mass scale. You know, that they have a freedom, an outlet that none of us have ever, well, none of my generation and the ones before have ever had. You know, when I first got this, when I was like, 24, I was like, oh my God, I'm like out there, and I didn't understand any of the rules. Like, in fact, there was no rules. We were just like mad, like, oh, I could go there. I never saw that before. And that's what your 5-year-old is doing, they're reaching out and they have words and keywords and they understand it all faster and better. And every generation in this country needs to come together with a proper understanding of what's really going on out there. There's always going to be bad guys, regardless, and there's always going to be superheroes.
Yeah.
We just need to stop putting the bad guys on the pedestals. We need to stop celebrating the gray areas and creating a separate reality away from the law. We need to start teaching our kids about the law. We need to start teaching each other about the law and to understand it, to make this gentleman here, his job, easier. Because more parents participate, if more average people are out there learning and teaching the laws and understanding without post-truth, bringing us all across the world without, a doctored picture, giving, half the population a feeling. We need to start educating everyone around us and making sure it happens.
Yeah, I think a big part of that too is the fact that the internet and the way that it's used, it's growing so fast through all the different generations that it's really important that the laws and the way that we deal with that keep up, because it changes so quickly, right? And you guys do a fantastic job, of course, but I think it's also a big responsibility for the parents too to make sure that they're watching over their kids online, watching their activities and all of that too, right? So I mean, I know there's a couple apps out there that'll kind of help out a little bit with that. But
Disney,
Disney.
a couple other ones, yeah.
This is a root beer, by the way, just for all the trollers online. It says right there, root beer.
As he said, trolls. There's a term that's come to term like right now, actually. You know, do you know the age of a troll, the sex of a troll? Do you understand the mentality of a troll? Once again, that's cyber psychology, a brand new spectrum, a brand new understanding of what's up here. You know, the basic, what came in from the 1800s of this is how you train your dog, we're going to move this to our children. That's where psychology came from. And now we're in boxes, with the Lawnmower Man, the movie, all of that's happening for real, right in front of our faces. And our children are going to be 10 times further than us. And we can all argue about religions, about politics, about all of that, but we need to set up rules. Absolutely, and we need to know what rules are actually out there and what rules aren't out there, and understand them truly for the wording that they're put, because the wording is everything. Like you said about some of these laws are coming into effect now and some aren't, and it's all what the legislation is doing at the moment. But that legislation is a representative government. And how many of you out there at home right now or in the audience even know what those laws are happening right now, what they're talking about, what he's talking about? And you should. I mean, M103 is going on right now and it's a motion. I'm watching it all over the law, the thing. Oh, this new law that changed, but it's not a law because it's a motion. and that's a basic understanding that most adults should have a concept of. If that means we should be pressuring a school system because us parents don't quite understand, and maybe we need to pressure the school system to add more than, this is how you vote. How about this is how you write your MP? Did you know you can write your own? Any of that. Some of these groups, this phenomenon that's happening, people wanting to change their neighborhoods, you can't really look at that as a bad thing as much as some of it may be a bad thing. People want to do something. They just need to be guided. Regardless of, what they want to do. And not everybody is the same. Once again, everybody is different. There are talkers, there are walkers, there are doers, and there are like researchers. We all have different gifts when we come together. I teach my kid we're all little fingers on a hand, but together we're strong. And there's a reason for that. Because we are all different. You're a pinky, I'm an index, and, we're all different. But together we can make a big difference. And it's teaching each other. It's knowing what's out there.
So I just wanted to go back to the child luring for a second, because I just had a question that just popped in my head for Owen here.
Mm-hmm. We want to keep him active.
Yeah. We have him for a little bit longer than what I thought. He showed up early, so that's great.
My pleasure.
So what is I'm kind of, I know this is kind of situational, but what is sort of the difference in how it works with the laws when somebody is coming to meet somebody online who they had thought was a child but turned out not to be, versus somebody who came to meet somebody online and then there was an actual child there? Because I think that's something that a lot of people get
Confused on,
yeah.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
So,
I mean, the difference between
what we do as
Yeah.
advocates, and then we give you guys our information, and then
Yeah.
you guys go and meet the guy at your own discretion, versus like a concerned parent, and there's actually a child involved, as far as witnesses go and stuff like that.
Criminally, the law is exactly the same both ways. So it would be the same charge for luring, and then depending on what was said in the conversation, you would look at the primary charge, whether that's invitation to sexual touching, things like that, as your primary charge. And then it's dealt with a little differently once an arrest is made, because you have immediate concerns with an actual victim.
Right.
Child.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a different level of, without that victim, when you have the luring as you're doing, where you're meeting them, it tends to be if an arrest is made, the person would be released because there wouldn't be any threat against an actual person.
Right.
Whereas if you've arrested them after luring an actual person, there's going to be a whole host of release conditions.
Right.
Not to contact that person, not to go within certain places.
Not let out on his own recognizance.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the big difference there when you've got someone that's potential danger there for children.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Oh.
I suppose. It's about participating. Ever since my kids were young, any police officer I've ever asked, my kids are going to watch it later, right? It's important for them to see.
Are they having trouble sleeping?
No. It's something.
I'll bring out the criminal code. We'll put everyone to sleep.
Yeah. No, it's something that I ask all of the police and our even the mayor, even city councilors. You know, what made you become a superhero? What made you become a police officer?
That's a good question.
I did co-op education with the RCMP in grade 12, and it looked like a lot of fun. Yeah, my dad, I love him to death. He, a fantastic leader in his field, doctorate, but he worked in an office all day. And I just thought, man, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be in an office all day. That was one thing that attracted me, was being outside, meeting people. And it's different every day. There's so many different jobs you can do within the department. I came from, my background the last 8.5 years is forensics before I came to the internet building, the internet exploitation unit. So I was a CS guy for 8.5 years, and that was a ton of fun, right?
Yeah.
There's just so many different options within the department. Having a big department like this helps, right? Like, if you're in a small town, you're a little more limited, but yeah, it's been a big job. So that was it, grade 12 co-op education at RCMP is what I was like, that's it, I want to do that job. Awesome. Never look back. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thanks for asking.
I do it all over town. Much respect. Where I grew up, it wasn't a respected thing, and you know, as I grew older and became a dad, I've learned to respect beyond what I've ever had before. And when I first moved to my town, the first thing we did was every time we see, you know, walking down the street, there's a police officer, anybody, you know, I've met the mayor of my town now, and a great mayor, and you know, city councilors, and this is what I do when my kids are present. It's just the first thing I want to do is like ask them why you became a superhero, so that they can hear the different aspects of why you chose that path to help the community. Because that's what it is, it's helping the community, and I can't stress that enough to everybody out here. Whereas, and I know that these groups out there are under the concept that they're helping the community, or at least under the guise to the publicity of it, you know, and there are right choices you can make, you know, in helping the community and advocacy, you know, rather than vigilantism. And, you know, the reason why I got involved was to bring something better to the table rather than you're done, bud, was, you know, hey, you know, there's a legal way to go about this. No, because it's once again, this is influencing my children. My children is the next generation coming up that these people are influencing. And, you know, vigilantism all of a sudden with 10 superhero movies that came out this year, and then you have vigilantism rising up. All of a sudden you have a glorified situation that's affecting my children's generation. You know, and I won't name any famous rappers or anything like that, but let's get real. You know, when I turn on the radio and I'm listening to what's going on, you know, that's my daughter asked me the other day, what's Tinder? Well, the radio said it 20 times in the last half hour. She asked me what Tinder was. You know what I mean? When advertisement surpasses psychology, it's hard to be a parent. You know, all of a sudden you're guarding against things you never thought you'd have to guard. And my 13-year-old daughter's going, what's Tinder? You know, and like, that's why I asked why you became a superhero, is to help guide other generations towards, you know, right choices. If you want to help your community, learn leadership. You know, join a co-op for RCMP. Like, is there any other choices they can make?
I'm not sure. You mean for children, like, or
Yeah, say they don't want to be a police officer,
And that's not everybody's the same, right? Some are tech geeks, some are, and I know there's many different departments in the police department. I get it 100%. But maybe another guideline that maybe you have respected or something, not on a personal, not on a professional, but something that you may have seen out there that you could say this is also a good way to help your community.
Yeah. Again, I'm a little biased because I just joined. I live in a small, well, it's still called a village. It's that small, a ways out of town, and we have a volunteer fire department. And I just joined them, and
awesome.
yeah, it's fantastic, right? Like you just feel you feel so much better about yourself that you're helping everyone in the community.
Yeah.
Growing up, I had friends that were in something like 4-H clubs. I grew up in a farm area, and they love that, right? They're out in the community with their prize-winning cattle, and yeah, that's fantastic. You kind of miss that here in the city. Like I didn't grow up in a big city, so but I know it's a lot tougher because that's the victims that I deal with that are, like you said, home alone, just left to their devices,
their
right?
babysitter.
Yeah, and some of the parents wonder how this could happen to their child. And I said, well, how many hours does your child spend alone in their room on the internet? Well, 4 or 5 hours at night school. Can't imagine how they were lured into this, right? So,
where's the participation with your child?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the I'm not comparing here whatsoever. Everybody has a different means of parenting, and there is no definite guideline to what parenting is. And I've learned that straight across the world in my parenting groups. But firefighters, awesome. Like, it's one of the things I always wanted to be.
Yeah. Well, most of my police friends don't know that, and so I'm not having police friends left after I'd mentioned that fact. Awesome. There's a friendly animosity there. I don't know if you've ever heard about it. Good stuff.
So I just wanted to get back to the whole vigilantism thing for a second here. And as far as that goes, I mean, we sort of shifted away from the vigilante thing. We don't take the law into our own hands, as I'm sure the BPD know. We call you guys as soon as somebody wants to meet one of our decoys. We don't even do a confrontation, or besides inviting that one guy to my house because we had nowhere else to meet.
Strongly recommend not ever doing that again.
I got in a lot of trouble for that. You guys are really quick on the ball on that.
Good.
So, but yeah, just getting back to that. I mean, I like the fact that it sort of allows you guys to do a proper ID on the person. We're not blasting anybody's name or anything like that, and so it's definitely a better way to go. Is there any suggestions that you can make for maybe some of the vigilantes that want to do this in more of an advocating way, where they're not publicly shaming so much and they're letting you guys do your job? And I mean, because when you're IDing them, you can also find out if you guys have any investigations on them and stuff like that. So I really think that it gets rid of a lot of the concerns that were previously there.
Yeah,
Or how far can you go as a citizen?
That's a good question.
well, I mean, to answer the first question there, I get it, right? I understand the vigilantism, being that people generally are frustrated with the courts. And,
Right.
we don't have a choice in that, and that's what we have to work with. And as you brought up, if we're not identifying who these people are, you're missing out on potentially a tremendous amount of good information as far as the suspect goes.
No doubt they could go home and get freaked out because some catcher or somebody got them and delete everything or whatever else, right?
Yeah, see, I mean, I will always recommend not doing the vigilantism and going in the direction that you have, because we need the best evidence to proceed with anything, right? And without that, there's very little we can do.
Right. So, as far as, how was I going to say this now? Norm, you can go ahead. I forgot what I was gonna
How
say.
far can I
I'll
go?
be honest.
How far can I go as a citizen?
There you go.
I see something wrong in the neighborhood. How far can I go as a citizen?
It depends on what you mean wrong. I mean, yeah, you
I
pay your
hear
taxes, right? We call the police and tell them this is what's going on, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm always going to advocate that, you call the police, right? I guess it's really the best way I can answer that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I worded that wrong. In the concept of vigilantism, without the social shaming, without the going overboard, that's a lack of trust in the police department, and I can't stress enough to have trust in your police department. I mean, that's like, as the song goes, laws of protection of the people, right? So, but as a citizen, I see something wrong, and I want to build up enough evidence to bring it forward. Is there a situation that I can bring it to that point, like to collect evidence?
I would suggest you go to the police right from the start and have them build evidence through their investigation. Because even as a citizen, you're going to be compelled to court, possibly, with any evidence that you collect, and that means that you're going to be held to a higher standard. Whether it's you've got to have good notes, because this could take a year plus to get to court. And you get to court, you don't have any notes because you weren't trained to do that. And nothing against a common person, but they're not trained to do an investigation. So just the note taking alone. Liability-wise, and you may not know exactly what it is you should be investigating and how to gather that evidence.
You might be swimming against the current.
Yeah. So go to the experts, right?
Yeah, sure. And I just wanted to touch again on, part of the reason why we do things differently at Creep Hunters Canada, and why we're participating in this event. Through the whole vigilante movement, it made everybody aware of a problem that maybe not the majority of everyday people were fully aware of at the time. But I like to see some type of solution to that problem, and the solution is not letting somebody, walk away or chasing them down the street, right? The solution is having you guys show up and actually make an arrest at your own discretion, obviously, and give you our information the best way that we can prepare it for you as citizens. And I think it's important for people to understand that the police do care a lot about getting these guys off the street. So when they're seeing vigilantes letting people walk away, so to speak, it's not that you guys aren't willing to come out or anything like that. It's that things aren't being done in a way that can actually be used in court. Is that right? Because that's sort of the main problem with why police can't necessarily come out or be a part of the whole vigilante thing as much.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that the gathering of evidence that's presentable for court is probably the number one problem.
Right.
And that's you're just not trained to
do
that.
Yeah. Right.
And again, we're talking about rules of evidence, the charter, best evidence, right, and how you capture it.
Right. I think maybe we'll take some questions. I saw somebody with their hand up. Somebody. Mike?
For people wanting to join into Creep Hunters or whatever, different groups, different towns across Canada, would you just recommend going to their local department and discussing it with the police first, or going to an actual nice person that you guys deal with?
Well, we like to do sort of our own basic training, and that's something that, again, I'm just going to stress this again, that we do on our own. We haven't been provided any official training from any actual police force. There's been individuals that have offered suggestions as far as our training goes, and I think we have an awesome training program, and I know JC and Brenda and some of our other members have worked really, really hard to maintain that. But the best way, I think, is just to go onto creephunters.org. You can contact us through the website there. We have a pretty extensive training program. Obviously, it's not the same as law enforcement, but there are certain things that have to be done a certain way in order for us to have an individual in. As far as going to local law enforcement and all of that, I kind of like to help people guide them through that, because there is a lot of misconceptions between other groups that do this and groups that do it the way that we do. And as far as I know, we're the only advocate group that is collecting evidence to submit to police properly. So as far as somebody getting trained up and then wanting to go to the police right away on their own, I mean, anybody is able to do that as a citizen, but if you're going to them with our name attached to it, then we'd like to make sure that a representative from Creep Hunters can either be on the phone and helping along with that communication, because like I said, there's a lot of misconceptions between which groups are doing what and all of that. And I think that the most important thing is that the law enforcement that are going to be dealt with in whatever area are fully aware of our group and how we do things differently, so that they know that there isn't going to be a confrontation. We're not going to be walking up to an online predator and talking to them, or putting them on the spot or anything like that. Right? We're going to allow the police to do their job, and I think that's a really important thing for not only the people that are being trained, but for the local law enforcement to understand, right? Is that we're not here to freak out at anybody or call anybody out. We're here to give our evidence and let people that go in here decide whether or not an arrest should be made, right? Because it's really up to them at the end of the day. So, yeah.
What's your opinion on citizens' arrests and vigilantes taking the law into their own hands?
I think that would go towards
Yeah, I'll go with the big man answer that one.
Yeah, I'd like to.
how is the citizen's arrest made, and if possible, I think that's because it was seen out there somewhere.
Yeah, again, if it harken back to the criminal code, right? Any citizen can arrest for an offense found committing. Now, it's the best way to answer. So I could answer what ifs all day, right? And it comes down to exactly what the circumstances are. I would call the police. If we're talking about internet luring, then you know that that's happening
Before it's happened.
before it's happened. You're in the middle of that communication, or you found out about that communication through your children, possibly, or your children's friends, or another adult. I'd still go to the police, because they're complex investigations as far as trying to gather the evidence. And I would say probably the most difficult part can be putting that person, the suspect, behind that device. Because simply having them show up isn't the actual crime. You've still got to put that person behind those words that were communicated. Yeah.
I'm more interested to know what are the repercussions, I guess, of when does vigilantism become criminality?
That's a good question.
Well, you open yourself up to more than just a criminal element, right? You've got the whole civil side, which I believe is ongoing with, is it Creep Hunters?
No.
Creep Catchers, sorry.
Okay.
And again, that's it. Our own police and citizens, they have their own, they mix the groups up themselves because they are doing different things.
That's right.
So civil liability is a huge issue, right? And then you don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what their level of violence may be upon being discovered.
So would you say that if Creep Hunters were to continue doing what we're doing in this way, where we're calling you guys as soon as a predator wants to meet our decoy, with an hour's notice, 2 hours notice ahead of time, so we can show you the information, all that. Would you say that dealing with it that way versus public shaming and sort of chasing them down the street, would you say that would kind of get rid of some of that liability to some extent?
Oh yes, yeah. If you're not meeting the person at all, then right.
So
I know it's all in the wording, but back to her question about citizen's arrest. Citizen's arrest is based more on property and your property compared to online. Like you said, if you're sitting there chatting with the person, you should phone 2-3 hours ahead of time because the crime is happening at the moment. You're chatting with the person. Whereas a physical citizen's arrest is more based around, I caught you on my property. I'm going to try without contact to hold you on my property till police arrive to actually make the arrest. Is that more of what a citizen's arrest should be applied to as a citizen? It's a big confusing factor out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would never recommend anyone lure someone on the internet on their own and go and meet them and call the police to.
But just the concept to make it clear across the board, you know, when a citizen's arrest should be applied in comparison to the thought it may be applied. You know, based on property, I guess, would be the safest way to talk about it. I caught them in my backyard.
Yeah.
You know, compared to I'm talking to them online right now. I'm going to go down to the local sub shop and you know, do a citizen's arrest on camera.
Yeah, I mean there's just so many ways to answer it, right? I mean, even me as a police officer.
Yeah. I don't want to put you in a situation and answer the wrong way.
And I see someone steal something in my backyard. Chances are I'm going to get on the phone and give them the best description I have and where the direction they're going. Something like that, right? Like I'm still not going to be out there confronting people.
Well, yeah, if you're alone, never should you ever confront somebody. You know, on my farm in particular, there's a good 5 people at any given time. You know, so it's like I'm just trying to clear it up for her and anybody else who might have that. You know, they just saw what was considered a citizen's arrest spread across the internet. And I know where this is coming from, and you know, I truly can't see that as a citizen's arrest. Me, but not being educated, I do know this exists. So you know, I'm just looking for a more clear definition of when it could be applied, if it should. Like, and I'm not saying it should be applied, but like a hypothetical situation maybe where it actually fits where a citizen's arrest. You know, from what I read, it's based around property.
Yeah, a citizen can arrest for an offense that they see being committed. And that's the bottom line.
Right, so if, for example, if there's a vigilante out there, right, and he had met somebody up to do his public shaming, right? And they're waiting for you to show up because they didn't call ahead of time, they just kind of called spur of the moment because stuff got a little crazy, whatever. Now, if the illegal aspect happened online and the said individual is there in person, is it unlawful to try and hold that person there till police arrive? Because the fact that they're there isn't the crime, it's the online stuff that's the crime. So wouldn't it be considered holding somebody against their own will if they were to try to, oh, you're not going anywhere because you're a creep, we're going to wait for the police.
We just want to deter people away from this and try to find the words
And that's why
where you can answer that.
Yeah, right? If they were to try and hold someone, they would have to articulate exactly why they felt justified in doing that.
Right.
Okay, that's, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that's one of the misconceptions that I've seen. So, all right, what time do we got? What time is that, guys? 1:12. Thank you. Okay, I think we're gonna have our next speaker come up pretty soon. If you guys are good with that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming up.
You're very welcome.